Hey guys, so as it happens, somebody that I really thought of as being a true friend to me made a pretty hurtful video about me recently, and because of it, I'm afraid to say that Sweetie Cheeks will no longer be joining us in any further videos on the channel. And I do apologize to what I can imagine must be the bulk of our subscribers who are only really tuning in to see her. But it's just going to be me from here on out, so I am sorry. Okay, hola all, welcome back to Soul Mechanics.
Just kidding!
So, we are doing a reality check. I think I might put this actually in the High Noon series. It deserves to be there. It is in fact spurned from the original High Noon video, primarily. I guess it's spurned from the entirety of this contrived relationship that we've developed with this other YouTuber, who happens to be one of our very first target assets. So I should like to state, for Demi, hopefully she's watching this and she has not decided to back out entirely, that she is in fact checking in here, because we're going to give this to her. Of course, we give all the reality checks to everybody who deserves them. This is a response to her video for us, I guess, kind of for us, or about us, rather. R.E. Brain vibrations create the universe, which, I mean, I've never said that, ever. Not once in my entire life have I ever said that. But it is...
Not those exact words, but yeah.
It's technically correct, actually. So, I mean, we'll go ahead and we'll give Demi a point for that, for actually being correct. Yes, that title would technically be the correct, apt truth of the matter.
Well, not if it was meant to make fun.
And also for having the balls to step the fuck up. She is. I fully anticipated Demi to be the first amidst our target assets, and she was one of the very first target assets we ever assigned, and she actually had the gall, the strength of the merit of character to go ahead and step up and make a response to us directly. So kudos on that. Yeah, point for that. Point for making a title that, whether you tried to or not, you were in fact correct on that. However, we're going to have to retract several points immediately for various reasons. One, obviously, that is not the name of any of our videos, and traditionally her videos marked RE, our response videos to a video, which we never made a video called Brain Vibrations Create the Universe. That never happened. Also, I mean, come on, lady. Here's her. I'm gonna give you her what's it called? Her description thing. It says here, since the begging of my channel, almost. Which I don't think it actually was. You say that in the video, that I've been, like, bothering you, I guess, since the beginning of your channel. But it's been... I'm pretty sure your channel's been around for a long, long while.
I didn't know her channel until you showed it to me, so it's relatively recent.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, in fact, who didn't know your channel before I showed it to them, because I have, in fact, been promoting you since the beginning of at least our channel.
I thought it had been around for a long time, because she's, you know, very fun to watch.
I do think her channel's been around for quite a while, but she has that 2-year marker. But yeah, since the begging of her channel, apparently, not the beginning, but the begging, Madam, this is your description. This represents your video. You can claim to not care about us so much that you don't care about the video you're making about us, that's fully 40 minutes long, by the way, and must have taken a lot of work. I mean, you clipped a lot in here. That's editing that certainly I wouldn't have the patience to do, even for you.
I'm flattered.
Right, me too. But the begging of my channel, the extra space there after that one, today we'll respond to one, spiritually deluded, which doesn't work. That doesn't make sense. spiritually deluded. That doesn't play at all, rhetorically
Deluded?
speaking. Then, for a year or two, this person has been making video. It's going to be one video. You need an S on the end of that. A. B. You didn't capitalize the beginning of the sentence.
Alright,
Leaving
you are
comments,
the
sending
grammar police,
messages,
though.
didn't capitalize the beginning of the next sentence, or any of them for that matter, it seems. I will give you all of the background in the video, but he started off mild and grew increasingly unreasonable until I disengaged, which is not... I mean, I guess that could be your opinion,
Well,
really.
it could seem like that. I would like to input with a little bit of context here. I've known this man for a very, very long time, and I'll give her, you come on strong. I can attest
Yes.
to that. And you're also the super grammar police. He will correct me if I don't put a period in my text messages. I swear to God.
You misspelled Jags, by the way, which you really shouldn't have done that.
I don't even know how to...
You didn't capitalize anything that you should have. Jags, my responses to his harassments and crime. Last month he made a video along with his friend, which you repeatedly refer to her as being that woman or that friend, and you also continuously refer to her as being A, dumb fuck, and B, bitch, which you really need to never do again.
I think the bitch thing is kind of a...
You and I,
It's a thing.
Demi, you and I are very similar in ways that I don't think you'll ever know. Very, very, very similar. But, I mean, so you can call me bitch, I guess it's like you said, she said it's like a gay thing, I guess.
Well, it's just a thing that people say girls do it all the time. It's just I don't take it personally. I think bitch, you kind of add it in there for effect.
Yeah,
I think
you
the
can
bitch
go
thing
ahead.
is funny.
You can go ahead and feel it's perfectly reasonable.
It is.
Me, don't ever do that again. Don't ever do that again. If
She
you
can say
you
whatever
talk
she
about
wants.
no, not that she cannot, Demi. You cannot, and I fucking you suggest that I've been like insulting and mean to you, which has never ever happened. I've never been in any way anything but positive, suggestive, attempting to be beneficial to you in some way or challenging in some way. I did raise, or I asked for you to raise a challenge to us, which you failed to do entirely. Point down for that. But, I mean, if I wanted to be mean to you, lady, we'll get to it later.
There is no reason for anybody to be
I'm not going to be mean to you, but I would really heavily recommend
You've
you
never
don't
been a petty
call
person.
her a
Don't start
bitch
now.
again. This is petty. This is not petty. This is a matter of chivalry to me. By the way, Madam Super Sweetie Cheeks, as we call her here on the channel, alias Megan Lee Ramsey, is my ex-wife, lifelong partner in crime, and current co-host of this channel, property owner as regards Soul Mechanics. So please, at least have some fucking respect, dude. We've been respectful to you every step of the way, without you having done an inch worth of work to earn it. Simply because we do in fact see a great degree of potentiality in you. You've done some seriously awesome work, but only when provoked by us, which we'll get to that later.
I wouldn't go that far. I think her videos are fun.
From what I've seen. No,
like
her videos are alright. But so far as goes the atheist circuit.
I think she's great.
She is funny, yeah. That's why I was first attracted to her in the first place, was because she's funny. And she makes fun of people. She hits them hard. It's hilarious.
It is pretty awesome.
But when she's out of line, it gets to be obnoxious, and you do cross a line there, and it's uncalled for.
Maybe we hit a sore spot.
We did indeed hit a sore spot, and yes, we had intended to. We will get to all of this, but at the end of her description, she says, thumbnail credit goes to @FlickerFay number 1135 on Discord, and the pinned comment. We'll give you links to everything, obviously, but she thereby afterwards says she's an amazing talented. That doesn't work. Amazingly talented. It's an adjective. And artist. You misspelled artist. Are you serious? You misspelled artist. And you give accreditations to this, that the artwork on that thumbnail is incredible. However, you did in fact go ahead and use our symbol, which I mean, I'm happy you did it. That's awesome. I love that you put that in the thumbnail, but...
Yeah, who cares?
I mean, that's ours, so... I should like to say that we're going to give accreditations to this Flickr Fae person for having done our thumbnail. Thank you. Now, yeah, and support Anti-Ordinary, of course, in various ways that you can go about paying her for her videos, which, again, we'll never ask you to do. That's poor form, I think. I mean, YouTube's paying you, aren't they? And if they aren't, there's probably a reason for that. Anyways, so, we'll just start off by playing some of the beginning of her video. She plays Sweetie Cheeks.
Which starts with me.
Yeah, she plays Sweetie Cheeks doing her intro.
Well, I would like to explain our
well suited
intro.
to the environment of YouTube as I am.
Yeah, the
I
couch
figured
thing.
I'm somewhat intelligent to take over this channel on my own.
You dumb fuck. Good morning,
Okay.
YouTube. I'm still in
What?
bed.
I would like to
You
say
just-
that we just thought it would be funny.
You call her a dumb fuck?
Well, that's like a little clip from later
What is
in
your
the
fucking
video
problem,
or
man?
whatever, but whatever. I don't know. You can call me a dumb fuck, I guess, if you want. But the couch thing with the joke about, being somewhat intelligent and, kicking off my new YouTube channel, we just thought it would be funny. I mean, nobody was, like, insulted or pissed or offended by anything you said. It seriously was funny. I thought it was hilarious when we were first watching it. And that your video, and it came up, she's somewhat intelligent. I was actually kind of flattered. I think it's a really nice thing to say. I've never done anything like this before. So, when you get on social media, I think you expect a lot of, like, really negative and, like, kind of scary shit. So I was very nervous.
I mean, I imagine
I was very
you've
nervous at
probably
first.
gotten a lot.
Oh, I'm sure. I think everybody does. I think that's fair game because of, just weirdos and trolls or whatever.
Not necessarily fair game, but it's fair play.
Yeah, exactly. But I will say that there was actually multiple times in that video and in your response one where I think I got some compliments, and I'm officially flattered by that. I think that's fucking awesome.
Yes, we're very happy that you
I
like Sweetie
appreciate
Cheeks
it.
a lot.
Yay, everybody loves me.
And I mean, it's not necessarily, I don't have to care if you like me or not, although I do in fact care about why you dislike me so much, and I'm going to go ahead and do my best to explain this to you in the course of this video, because it's very obvious that you do not know. But we're going to show you why you dislike me so much and why you're behaving in the way that you are.
Well, again, I think the beginning of it speaks volumes about misinterpretations on, thinking that we were, like, offended or pissed off.
I know.
And that wasn't actually
nobody's
the case.
ever.
Absolutely not.
We were not offended.
No,
we
it was
found
funny.
it funny. It was cool. You could have done better, but.
Well, it was cool, and just to be mentioned, I think was a big deal, and I appreciate it.
But you could do
It's cool.
so much better if you were not, like, for some reason you seem to be thinking that we're offended or upset with you in some way or another. You also, you see, you're like espousing this idea that I've been in some way insulting or cruel to you. That's never happened, man. That's never happened.
Yeah, like I said, I've
I've
known
been
for a long
entirely
time.
beneficial and positive and friendly to you in every possible way.
I can't imagine a universe in which you would have a outright, no reason, mean thing to say to another human being.
I'm not even mean to people that I have a reason to be.
He really is.
In most cases, I mean, there are some people that really get there.
I've never seen it.
Yeah,
I've never
you don't
seen
want
you be
which that's
nasty or
precisely
mean to
what
anybody.
I'm trying to what I'd like to put across here. Nobody wants to see
And
that.
like I mentioned earlier when we were chatting, people dig at you.
Mhm.
I think a lot. It's been happening for many, many years.
Yeah, for the creepy thing. She
Yeah.
says she insinuates that I'm a creepy weirdo, which is
Weirdo.
really that's
Which,
the only.
don't worry, she's being civil.
Yeah, she's being very civil about that.
But,
She also
I
says
think-
that I'm a shit person.
Shit person.
I'm a
yes.
shit person.
Creepy weirdo. Check and check.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that people dig at you. That's kind of the first first place that most people go.
It's usually because of the way I dress and the
Yeah,
fact that I
just
do come
little
across
stuff.
strong to people.
Mhm.
I come across so strong to people because I do, in fact, consider you all to be family. And that's because I do, in fact, actually live this premise of us all being family, of us all being connected.
Yeah, I feel like you... it's this weird thing that you do where most people have, like, these social, rules that they abide by, but I think in your mind you consider that as being a dishonest
It is a
kind of thing.
dishonesty.
And
It's
so
a trap. It's
it
a
comes
barrier.
on-
It's
yes, exactly.
a distraction.
Which,
and it's
to
pointless.
everyone
It's
else,
useless.
it's just it's like a social kind of courtesy kind of
Right.
thing, where you're not outright, dishonest,
Where-
but I
where-
think to you, it is.
Yeah, where I have the most respect for people, it's going to be in the case of people. It's going to be in the case of people so heavily respecting these social parameters, which evidently you must.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
just-
mean
it's
that
It's
really.
a code of courtesy. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if I come across strong to somebody and I consider them to be family and I treat them like family and they respect that and they appreciate it, that's what garners my immediate and endless loyalties. Now, you put yourself across as being precisely that sort of person. The weird sort, as you say, quote unquote, who breaks the social norms, the anti-ordinary. Yet
After she called you a creepy weirdo, she went on to say that she's
a very okay with
queen
weird.
of, yeah,
She's
the
a
queen of weird. And I don't know if she
It's
actually
not-
said that sentence, but like, oh, I love
not-
being weird and
Yeah,
that
she
kind
loves
of
being
stuff.
weird, and then she points
But
out
you're
this
a
odd,
creepy
like,
weirdo.
owl creatures. Yeah, we'll show you guys. I don't know
Oh,
what
that
it is. She
was-
has some...
That was
some-
Kimberly, I think.
Kimberly. Yeah.
That was
But
funny.
here's the thing, straight off, I mean, she plays this off, Demi, you play this off as though you're, like, very bored and you couldn't care less yet.
My armpits.
Like, here you are explaining that you haven't even gotten out of
I'm
bed
still in
yet.
bed. I just woke up to a really long, fucking annoying message
I
by
don't think
this
that's fair nor
person.
better. I mean,
So let me
Well,
wake up.
I mean, what are you
Make
doing
a video
having
on
not
that, who
woken
cares?
up
Ready,
yet?
and
Like,
then we're
why
going to
is...
address this. And this is going to be the only time I address this,
I think
because
more
I'm
people
sorry.
should do the video in bed. I think that's
By the way,
This person
Demi, that's
has
going to be the
existed
third time you
somewhere.
said that to me.
Since
That
the
you'll never
beginning of my
address me
channel,
again.
commenting on it and all kinds of shit. This person must have been responsible. It's one of the few people that have made so many videos about me, and it's like, okay, that's fine. That's what you signed up to when you joined the
You
internet.
signed up for being criticized, which I've never
telling you my
really
truth,
criticized
that bitch,
you,
here it comes.
although I could have.
Whether it's via video, message on
depends on
Discord, whatever the
what you
fuck
consider
want
criticism.
Blah, 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 blah.
Literally just sat upright. Quick disclaimer, let's ignore the mess. Let's ignore my bed doesn't have any sheets because I have a new mattress coming in for the whole problem, okay? Let's
Okay,
ignore
you
my
see
house.
this? What's
It's a
happening
fucking
here?
mess because I'm literally redecorating this bedroom right now. Oh look, I can see my
Yeah,
wig. in the
I thought that was a dildo. When I first saw this, I'm sorry. I thought that...
why would anybody have a...
Kimberly.
Yeah,
Look,
Kimberly.
look!
I named
She
her on
sticks
Discord
her finger up and
yesterday.
points at Kimberly.
Okay,
That's
Kimberly.
cool.
I thought that you were waving a dildo in the camera. That would have been very funny.
Kimberly is like the...
Kimberly is this. I
the
guess I don't know what it
stalker
is.
in the corner.
Yeah, Kimberly is this.
I don't know what the eyes were, but it looked like they were like glowing the whole time, and it's
Yeah,
super
it's
creepy.
very
and funny.
strange.
Ready for this shit, let's go.
It's this creepy
I don't have anything.
Kimberly. Which
I don't have anything
guess
to record
admittedly
this
that's
on.
kind of a
I don't
strange
have
thing to
titties,
have,
I
but
don't have a
your
bra on and my titties are
I
so
think it's
small.
just a
your
funny joke.
strange things don't really, make you very strange. It's going to be your behavior that defines you, ultimately. And your behavior here is crude. It's crossing the line into obnoxious and uncalled for, and it's very telling. It's very, very telling.
I mean, it seems a little discombobulated, the bed thing and the...
Yeah, see the bed thing, and that where
mess
you go out of
thing,
your
I
way
mean,
to explain
yeah,
why
whatever,
your
so-
bedroom's a mess. I mean,
so
great,
it's a mess.
my bedroom's a fucking horror story.
It's awful.
But
So bad.
I mean, I don't think you're
Don't go in
actively
there.
redecorating, nor do I think that you're ordering a new mattress. And if you are, okay, fine. That
Well,
could
there's
be
no
given.
reason
But
to
the
assume
thing
that
is
she's
that you could have
lying.
done any number of things to mask that if it mattered to you. The reason you didn't is because you are, in fact, very evidently in what we call a manic state here. And I can only presume it must be associated to this particular circumstance because, well, that's what this is all about. So,
like,
I mean,
discombobulated and upset and kind of...
It's just she's behaving like she just dropped a fucking bottle of Adderall. And she's just, this is the happiest fucking time of her life. That's what we...
Great.
I know, but you have not, again, as I've stated
cool.
before, you have not had any formal training in the psychiatric arena. For anybody who has, this is something that we take very seriously. This is a very serious warning sign, indicative of what might be determined as psychiatric anomalies of some sort or another, and you do in fact present them throughout the course of this video. But we're not going to cover that because I don't want to offend you or upset you or yell at you in front of your community.
To be frank, it's none of your business, pretty much, and it's not up to you to, diagnose or define anyone. No one needs that.
But, I mean, that is a warning sign
I know you
right
don't
there.
mean it
and
in like a mean way, but it's really neither here nor there.
Should you find yourself, failing in that area, requiring some measure of assistance in that area, I can afford that free of charge. Just as a friend, which I get the idea that she says, what does she say? She says something, she says that we're trying to get her, she says we're absolutely not friends and all that shit. We'll get to that, that's going to come up, but she says we're just trying to get her attention via her YouTube channel. She makes a very clear distinction between herself and her YouTube channel, and we're trying to garner the attention of her YouTube channel.
Well, I think the exact quote was, promote your shit on my shit, end quote.
Yeah, well,
I'm not sure what that means.
Promote my shit on your shit. I'm not sure either. I'm
Through,
sorry.
like, comments?
I'm sorry, Demi. I don't recall where I was promoting anything at all.
In, like, a message?
Like, I might have raised debates. I might have placed suggestions, of course, but that's what comments are for. So.
Yeah, maybe in the comments. I'm not quite sure
that's
what you meant by that
how
one.
it works. No, I've never promoted anything on her channel. That's why I have my own channel and many other facets to be promotional in.
Yeah, on top of that, we're absolutely not pushing our beliefs onto others, which I think was a little...
We don't really have
a little
many
extreme,
beliefs.
I think. Well, just like anybody else, we're human beings. We have beliefs. That's fucking natural, and they can change and evolve and whatever, but I can't remember any time in my life where I'm trying to, like, push my beliefs on other people. We're just talking here.
I have ideas, and I have a few beliefs here and there, but for the most part, I have a belief in scientific endeavors and in
which, as we've clarified in our older video, that too is a belief system.
Yes, so I believe in science,
but to make the claim that we're like pushing that onto other people, I think is a little much. It's a little extreme.
Yeah, again, it's just she crosses the line immediately in this video, and then she just kind of stays way over it throughout the course.
Well, I think it's cool that she has. I mean, this is crazy that you have this thing now where everybody can just put their opinions out there. I think it's a cool thing. Of course it's going to change the way people interact in a society, awesome. But it is awesome. It is a really cool thing when you feel or think something or don't agree, and you can do this and say, I don't agree, or I do agree, or I feel this, or I feel that. I think it's fucking awesome.
Right, well, this is what I wanted to say. Let's see if she says it right here.
Okay, let me put some to you. For a little bit more of a background on my experience with this person and sort of la. So basically, I met this person and he seemed relatively decent at first. He wasn't too full on. I do have a lot of religious,
most
spiritual
people aren't sloppy
come
enough to
onto my
consider
channel,
me
so it's kind
relatively
of like,
decent at first glance.
Okay. As long as you're not over the top and shit like that, normally I just won't respond to you if you are, and if you're not, there's no problem. You're just a normal person to me. You might believe in shit I consider dumb, but that's neither here nor there. I probably believe in shit you think's dumb. It's all Doesn't matter. As long as you're a good, decent person, that's what matters. If you're full on about it, you're trying to push your beliefs onto
But
other
I'm not.
people and shit, and like
I'm not a good, decent person
literally
Yes,
not
you
backing
are.
it on
because
anything and then
I've
expecting other people
because
to
I've
back your
tried to be
shit up.
friendly.
I don't
to you.
fuck with that. I don't fuck with you, okay? This person came onto my comment section and just left a decent comment. I was like, hi, yeah, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. I was polite to him. And then he started going full in on his spiritual woo about the mind creating the reality and all this stupid fucking shit.
No.
I'm like, alright, dude, you're
I
serious
actually
levels
didn't,
of
and the
what the
thing of
fuck
it is
is
that
going on here.
for Demi's fans that may be tuning in here, the thing about having a YouTube channel is that you can claim everything you want to, but the evidence is still there online. So unless you've deleted the videos that I commented on, anybody can go look at the comments and see that I did in fact not say anything.
Well,
like
I don't
that.
know. I mean, if just by telling somebody the things that you believe doesn't necessarily mean you're pushing them on
Right,
anything. You know
but
what I mean?
I mean, much of what
You're
she says,
definitely not afraid to talk about the things that you believe and feel strongly, which is
yeah,
cool. I mean, whatever.
No, she made a lot of good videos that had a lot of good leads, and I gave her leads, you know, further investigate, and I gave people in her comment section further leads to investigate, and I may have put in some of something to the effect of the scientific understanding that we do in fact have, but insofar as regards spiritual beliefs, we don't really keep those, and we certainly don't push them around.
I would consider myself a little bit spiritual, but in the very specific subject of what we're talking about here, the things that we've brought up in videos have a lot to do with like quantum mechanics, which I wouldn't call spiritual necessarily. I mean, there's an element of that, but it's also not stupid fucking shit because it's a part of science. I mean,
yeah, it's the vanguard of science as it stands, and it does in fact back up. Which, by the way, you just failed entirely to even step up to that which you were supposed to have raised a challenge regarding collective consciousness, not anything about brainwaves creating the universe, although I can see where you might have come up with that idea given what I said about my beliefs regarding physics, wherein I stated I do not believe in physics. I suppose what I should have said is I have differing beliefs in physics. I mean, I do believe that physics exists, and I believe that physics is what creates the universe. I also believe that physics is something that's malleable and is designed via the directions of consciousness, which is what quantum mechanics is showing us. Like, this is anybody who's ever looked into quantum mechanics at all, like, you watch a fucking YouTube video, you don't even have to study it,
yeah,
it will tell you that. It's
that
basic.
You use the word vanguard. It kind of is. I mean, scientists are looking at quantum mechanics to answer a lot of fucking really out there questions that we've never really tried to understand before. I mean, you had the Higgs boson and that kind of stuff pop up a few years ago, and that was like, oh, crazy. Like, I mean, it's a new way of kind of looking at things.
It is crazy.
It is weird.
Wacky.
It's totally weird.
It is magic. It could be considered magical. It truly is magical. The world that we live in is a fucking miracle, and it seems you have no idea.
Well, that old saying that magic is just science we don't understand yet.
Right, and it's,
I mean, think of it 100 years ago. People would have thought you were crazy. You're carrying around these, phones in your pockets.
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much the gist of it. Is what quantum mechanics has shown us regarding our understanding of physics and how it is in fact dramatically changing very rapidly. And
spooky action at a distance.
Yeah, Demi states in her video that she used to have all these stupid beliefs too, but
I'm not 100% sure what she means by that. I would need more information.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, if you did have any of the same type of understanding, then what likely transpired here is you got caught in the whole atheism activist trap.
Well, again, we don't know her story. I mean...
Well, we know a lot of her. I know a lot of her story, which she shared. And that's another thing, is that when you're going to say... I mean, if you want to say that... So if you're going to say that I don't know anything about you really, then basically what you're saying is that everything you stated about yourself online here is a lie, and that your channel is fraudulent.
Well, people in the public, you really only know what they tell you.
Well, and
there's a lot of
that's the other hand.
missing, you know?
Yeah, that's the other hand of this, is that especially with somebody like you who very, very obviously goes ahead and just places like everything about your life.
Fantastic.
It's beautiful. It's awesome.
It's a courageous thing to do.
You do in fact do that. You place yourself out there. You place everything about yourself out there, and even when you're trying to hide things. I'm sorry, I do apologize if it upsets you, madam, but you can't hide from me. I see you. You're presenting everything that needs to be known about you wide open. Just brazen. It's point blank. You do not have a poker face. At all.
It's funny, because as soon as you said that, I thought of Tells.
She's just bloated with them. But
so is everybody.
Yeah. Yes, they are. And that's something that really speaks to the nature of my personal understanding, and what we try to get across with soul mechanics is that you can in fact read people. You can in fact, these tells are evident in everything, and they're all over the place, and they are resounding. They are shared amongst us. We're not all that different people. We really are basically fundamentally the same. And that's because we are all connected. We are all a part of the same physical construct. The same thing. There is no outside of it.
That's the woo-woo.
So that's the woo-woo right there. Which, I mean, right then and there, it becomes obvious that collective consciousness exists because, well, consciousness exists. We know that. You are it.
But we don't know a lot about it.
But we know that it's shared amongst all of us, and that it is, in fact, happening all over the place. And quantum mechanics shows us very clearly that it is the functioning force in play. It is the activating principle of reality as we know it. Particle physics, particles pop the fuck up into place because you observe them. Your consciousness causes them to be, and in fact does have a directive influence upon them.
Yeah,
that's
quantum mechanics basics, the double slit experiment. When you're
the basics.
Observing
that's the basics.
Things, they change from particles to waves.
And it's pretty easy to understand. So, I mean, had you held these same sorts of understandings, and had you done the slightest amount of research or study into them, or even just paid attention to what's happening around you, it would have further reinforced that understanding. But it seems like something else got a hold of you, and again, it's going to be this
everybody
atheist
is open
activism.
to the same things.
No, well, I mean, we're basing this on her having claimed, which also she speaks to us having only watched 7 minutes of her video regarding staggers and jags. When she gets deep into staggers and jags, madam, I'm sorry, but you really blew a lot of the time you had here in this video just kind of obsessing over him. Which, that's...
To be quite honest, I don't know about you personally. I haven't seen you all week, but I ended up watching more of her videos than Daggers and Jags, and the more I learned about that guy, the more I just kind of stopped watching his videos.
Yeah,
I don't want to be mean or anything, but to be perfectly frank...
Sorry, Stags, if you do watch this. I mean, we're still going to help promote your music, which she says that we are... What did she say? We're trying to suck his dick to get a creative content creator.
Yeah,
she says.
We're just sucking his dick.
So, I mean, you must have spent a lot of time, at least a pretty hefty chunk of time editing the video that you made, editing our video into it. You put a lot of care into that, even though your voice slipped towards the end of it. It happens to us too. But
I'm flattered by it. I think it's awesome.
It's awesome that you did that. Well done, madam. You stepped up to the plate. You blew your shot.
I don't know how to do all that editing stuff.
You wasted that time, really, just obsessing over staggering about us.
I feel like I don't really...
We just got clipped. So, yeah.
I feel like I don't really care about the whole Staggers and Jags thing, and the one thing that we mentioned that I think really kind of hit a nerve was the thing where we joked about her having a crush on him, or maybe they're liking each other, or whatever.
Yeah.
And again, our whole thing every weekend is that we grab a video that we've never seen before.
Yes.
And he does a little bit more looking into it, but it's something that it's like a fresh thing.
The
like
point of it is that we have a fresh look on it. We haven't seen it before. We look at it and we respond to it directly. B, 7 minutes of that video was more than enough to tell us everything we needed to know, and then upon further investigation, you tell the story over and over and over and over and over again. You even tell the story again in the video that we're responding to here. And you don't add anything.
Yes, there was some information that I personally didn't know that you probably were maybe aware of if you watched many of her videos before. But first of all, if that guy was fucking with you and harassing you for 2 years, then he's a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Then that sucks. He's a dick and a bully, and that's not cool. To focus in on somebody like that and to fuck with them for years at a time, I mean...
It speaks to something, and honestly, it seems flirtatious on his part. When we said
maybe not your part, but on his part.
Yeah, when we said that there's a kind of a love affair going on here.
Why would he do that?
I mean,
that's crazy.
You state in your video, you say that we give Staggerson too much credit, or that we're too... Let's see if we can try to get to that.
I don't know if we're going to be able to find it. But basically that we were defending him.
Yeah, she says she tried to have a discussion with me in the comments, but it was just never good enough. I'm sorry, I don't understand what that means.
I don't know what that means either, never good enough.
Yeah, I don't get that.
But communicating through text, I think we're all very aware that that's like a very non-efficient way to communicate with somebody.
Especially
not a lot gets through when you're texting people, which is part of the
especially
issues.
Where it's in this regard, where it's like, I had no idea that you were such a, like, I don't know, I want to say cynic, but that doesn't quite cover it. It's like you expect for everyone to be out to get you to some extent, and if they're not out to get you, then you make shit up in your head to insinuate that they might be. Like you say, you seem to impress that I'm intending to insult you. You say that I called you a coward.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
No, I mean, in somewhere on the Discord, I said that most people, especially in this new age atheist activist circuit, are essentially afraid or back out of tend to avoid,
like, confrontations or
confronting or debating or addressing anybody that is possessing of true intelligence.
That seems counterintuitive if you're going to have a YouTube channel that you're. I feel like a person that avoids conflict isn't somebody that creates a YouTube channel.
No, well, and honestly, I mean, she stepped up here. Like I said, I fully expected her to be the first one to step up, for sure.
Yeah, maybe that was just a misunderstanding. But I think there was many misunderstandings. Nobody was, pissed off or offended.
It's like the reason that we addressed you in the first place, and the reason we continue to address you, is because we do, in fact, want to be friendly with you, and we're trying to be friendly with you, but it seems like you perceive that, like, you don't believe in friendship. You don't believe people can be... And I know you made the video where you spoke to how all friends on the YouTube are fake, and you can't develop any real personal relationships on YouTube. I mean, there are exceptions to that rule.
With text and with video, you're not really getting...
Right.
You're not really getting the communication. You're not getting the intuition and the body language and the feeling of another person when you're sitting right in front of them, talking to them. It changes it completely.
It's like she's convinced herself that, that it's just impossible. And it's like, that's not a very healthy way to be. Just the same as you not having that have entirely lacking any realistic sense of humor. I mean, you don't even understand when we're joking.
I think the jokes got taken a little bit too... to heart, maybe. Everything that we've said, any kind of joke that we've made was in good fun. I mean,
you're mad at us for joking about you making a joke about us?
Yeah. I mean, essentially, you made a joke about me.
She says she's somewhat intelligent.
We
made a joke back about
funny.
it.
It's hilarious, and it made me laugh. And
so
you
think that you think that we're offended by you?
I mean, I wasn't.
No. You're gonna be hard pressed to offend us, madam.
Yeah.
Except for where you call my partner a dumb fuck and a bitch all the time. That's kind of offensive. I care about
whatever
that.
she wants about me.
She can think it. She just can't say it on fucking YouTube.
Yes, she can. That's
You're gonna
called
get
free
yourself
speech.
in trouble.
She can say whatever she
No,
wants.
well,
That's
see,
the point.
here's the
That's
thing:
what
is
makes
that
it so great.
I'm here. I've stepped in. Which she also says. She says that toward the end of her video, she says that I'm being kind of I don't think she. I'm gonna go ahead and word it better for her. She says that I'm being covertly manipulative whilst trying to pretend that everything's just, normal or something to that effect.
The covert part, yeah.
Whilst the fact of the matter is, I've gone ahead and done my best to make it very evident to you, madam, that I am being very openly manipulative. And the fact as it stands is that you...
Not just to you, to everyone.
you just like... And you're not special in this regard. There are many other target assets. We've dealt with a lot of them. You're just the first one to make a response video. But yes, I'm being very openly and directly manipulative. And this is not... I'm doing this to our mutual benefit, to do good for us. There's nothing inherently wrong about being manipulative. In fact, you have to do it to get through the fucking day. I am openly being manipulative with you. I'm making it very clear to you, and in fact, you have gone ahead up to this point and done every single thing that I have wanted for you to do so far. And, should I happen to decide at any point that I would like for you to go ahead and do anything further going into the future, you will go ahead and do just that. The only other option you have is to just drop your channel and walk away from the internet altogether. If I want for you to do something, it's gonna happen. Sorry.
But if you're just trying to push someone's buttons to piss them off...
I'm not trying to push your buttons to piss her off.
Again, that's petty. I've never known you to be petty.
We're not
so
trying...
Don't start now.
You said that, you made the statement about us just trying to get attention from your YouTube channel. No, we're trying to get your attention in person as a real person. Because we see potential in you, we think you're awesome, we would like to work with you. As a friend, as a real friend, like a person-to-person, actual interaction. And that's why I've spoken to you elsewhere, and that's why I've been persistent about it, because you're a little more important than the average anybody.
Your persistence comes off as being, coming
but guess what?
Strong,
I mean, there are...
It does... freak people out sometimes.
That's great, but there are a fucking great many, just an enormous sum of people who appreciate it, or at the very least are not afraid of it and reject it so far as to be offended and to be offensive in response because of it. Most people consider it a pretty decent thing to just kind of be outright friendly and to actually, put a little effort into pursuing that, even if you're... ostensibly a shitty person to them. You can be shitty to me. I'm not going to give up trying to be friendly to you.
Again, a misunderstanding isn't the same as somebody just being, shitty for shitty's sake. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, that's how it comes across.
I think it's a
It just seems
misunderstanding.
she's being very shitty for shittiness.
Well, yeah, no, but I mean, there's things that led up to...
Right,
No.
and I'm gonna take a stab at that. I'm believing. I mean, it really seems like you might be associating me with Staggerson in some way or another, which she said again to address that, where she says that we're just trying to suck Staggerson dick. And we made. I want to see if I wish we could get to it. Like, I'm sorry, milady. I'm not gonna. I don't have the.
Timestamps or whatever.
I don't have the time or the patience to edit these things, so
Gosh, I don't even know how to do that stuff. I'm actually quite impressed by the editing
Yeah.
that she's done, because, God, I wouldn't even know where to begin with that kind of shit.
essentially calling you a coward and not quite insulting you outright. I've never insulted you. I've been entirely positive
Well,
towards
you've
you.
never intended to
I've
insult her,
been-
but if she felt insulted, then that's valid. She can have
That's
a
just the thing is, I think she feels insulted by me being kind to her and being promotional, which is very strange. That's very strange to me.
I don't know, man. I
That's just a very, very
I'm not gonna
weird
assume
kind of
anything about a person I don't
presumed
know.
sentimentality you seem to have. I'm not. You don't have to do anything. I am going to presume based on the evidences outstanding. Again, I can see you. The only way
That's
that
a dangerous game.
the
to start
only way
presuming
that
things about people.
the only way that the things that I am holding in mind as regards you as a person are entirely false is if you are like the world's greatest fraud and everything on your YouTube channel is fraudulent. I'm sorry. I mean, you have far too many toes. You're just way too obvious. You stop it. She's sucking your dick.
Well, a little bit. I don't want this person to assume that we intended to insult or
No, we are not
offend
intending to
her,
insult you.
because
We
that
even said that.
absolutely
We're
was
not
not the
trying to be
intention.
mean. We're not
But
trying
now it's
to
gotten
insult
to
you.
the point where, something that she said was, who are you to make judgments? You can't just come make judgments about people. Well, if I remember, you spent a large portion of the video making judgments about us.
I know, you said that I was a creepy weirdo and a shit person.
I'm awesome, though.
But she's fantastic, and she is.
Fuck
She's
yeah.
absolutely fantastic.
Oh, I love it.
And I mean, I do care. I mean, it hurts my feelings that you say that shit, but whatever. I mean, I don't need for you to love me. I just need for you to do what we need for you to do, and you do, and you will continue to. I mean, until you do possess a true intelligence and snap out of this daze that you're in, it doesn't matter what you think about it. You're not even going to see it happening as it does, and it will continue to happen. Because you don't know what you're doing. You're driving blind. And yes, I do have a license to drive this machine. One of the few people you're going to run into that do.
Just blocked him. I'm like, bitch, you're nothing to me. Why?
I'm nothing to you.
What do you
But, yeah,
expect to
and
happen?
she's got a kitty
Right,
cat.
I'm
She's got a kitty cat in the back with the black tail, a big black tail like Monster.
Having a discussion with you
Aww.
won't do anything, and I already knew that because despite you and your delusional outlet, I held the same stupid views you did. I used to believe
I would like
all
to
of this
learn more
retarded
about
Yeah,
it.
I'd like to know more about the views that you claim to have held because, again, if you held any of the same views as us, it would have taken 5 minutes of research on the internet, and it seems you probably grew up on the internet. It would have taken 5 minutes for you to assess and absolutely establish these views as established scientific facts. Insofar as regards science, and we both believe in science,
Yeah,
and mind
we
you,
definitely, we don't stop there. We talk about science, but we put I'll give her that. We definitely put a little bit of a spiritual spin on the things that we believe, but we're not necessarily telling anybody that that's what they need to do.
yeah, no, nobody, I mean, if we do present any beliefs, you're free to discard them, but we try to present facts, and we work with science, we work with psychology, we work with psychiatry, and spirituality is a byproduct that exists because of these things. If you actually knew anything about quantum mechanics, you'd find that most anything that's regarded as being spiritual is going to be backed by that, because that's the one and the same.
Yeah, the quantum mechanics thing kind of opens the door to some of that more spiritual stuff.
Yeah, and mind you, we're speaking to spiritual concepts there, not religious concepts. There is a very distinct difference.
I mean, in a way, but
And
again, just like the science thing, it's a belief.
That's the reason we want to
System.
befriend you, is because we do in fact have what could be considered a common enemy in religion.
Ooh.
That's the point of this whole shindig. We have trouble mutually that needs to be addressed, and we need to be working together to solve the problems that we mutually have.
The cult members. I don't like them.
Yeah, we're essentially cultisms. And I hate to break it to you, but this New Age atheist activism is a cult. It's a cultist influence.
But not every Christian, I don't consider every Christian a cult member either. There's outliers within everything.
Yeah,
There's
it's difficult to say. And yes, and she goes ahead. Demi says herein that she agrees that science belief in science is a belief system. Atheism, as it stands, is a belief system. You get
in the most simple
you get a
terms.
fucking bucket of points for that. But the thing is that you're absolutely wrong about where you say that, you know, we assume atheists are unreasonable in that regard. No, we
a
know
lot
that
of them
they
are,
aren't, because I've negotiated with many of them. I've dealt with most of the bigger atheist YouTubers that you would consider perhaps in your circuit. I've dealt with almost all of them, and every single one of them will even go so far as to be offended by you suggesting that atheism is a belief system. They think that they're free and clear of religion. They think that they're just the bee's knees and they've got it all figured
The
out.
lack
But
of belief,
the thing,
which is such a weird concept to me.
Right. The thing is, atheists, as it stands, aside maybe from you, well, no, because you presented here in the video, so you too, but atheists, just as Christians or any cultist peoples cherry pick their religious doctrines, their religious scriptures,
Oh gosh, everybody does.
cherry pick their beliefs, as it were, so too do atheists. Most atheists tend to cherry pick science, which is why you think that our views are woo-woo, because you don't even know about the science that backs them. You haven't bothered to look into it, and had you, obviously you've rejected it, which we're going to go ahead and offer Lisa. You failed, madam, to present anything regarding the actual debate that
The
we're supposed to
collective
challenge
thing?
regarding collective consciousness. What we're going to do is go ahead and give you links to the evidences we do in fact have, and that's going to be primarily regarding the Emoto experiments with the water, the Baxter effect. That's a big one. That's an awesome one.
Double slit.
I believe we can find some shit with John Hagelin and unified field theory is going to be helpful, and of course then there would also have to be like Newtonian mechanics or Einstein's relativity. These things, they all back a collective consciousness in play.
And other things too, like other things that maybe don't, but relate, that don't necessarily revolve around like the eyeball thing, the way the eyeball works, and the fact that you can't actually trust your senses, your memory, or your brain doesn't know the difference between a memory of something and it actually happening. And so, can you really trust, you know, what you're seeing to be representative of what's actually out there? The light's just how photons work. I mean, that's it. That's a real simple one. You're only seeing what the photons are reflecting back at you from whatever's going on out there, you know? Like, and
we do, insofar as regards our current understanding of science, you know, the scientific evidences at hand, we have reason to believe that these may not be what we had previously thought them to be. But
just to question something like that, can you trust your own senses? That's all.
That's
all.
That would be skeptical.
That would be skeptical, and that's all we're kind of meaning behind this.
So where we say, question. In fact, I want to go here. I'm gonna go ahead and pause this here. I'm actually gonna put in a little effort for you, madam. You deserve it for having stepped up. I'm gonna edit a piece in here for you, and we'll continue right after that.
You're being far too nice to Stags, because Stags doesn't know he's wrong. Everyone else knows Stags are wrong. Everyone, even Stags' friends, know Stags is wrong. Everyone knows Stags is wrong. Stags won't accept he's wrong because I put her into a ditch. His ego won't allow him.
Alright, so that's really all. I don't have time. I wanted to put other pieces in here, but we don't have the time for it, so I'm sorry, Demi. But that's going to have spoken to, I mean, firstly, that's going to be her input on, you know, our reviews and her views, which she doesn't really address our views. It doesn't seem she knows what our views are. It doesn't seem like she even knows what her views were, and she.
Well, I mean, as long as you just dismiss it out of hand as being woo-woo crazy, then you're
She
safe,
says that that we better have evidences to back it up, other than just our feelings and our. She says something about coincidences, which is that's going to be speaking to synchronicity, which is psychiatrically based. It's a psychological phenomenon that
Carl
is.
Jung coined the
Carl
term?
Jung coined that. Carl Jung is a very well-respected psychologist, although I'm sure the atheist will go ahead and state that psychology is to be regarded as pseudoscience if it doesn't perfectly agree with their sentiments, and they'll dismiss it.
Some of
outright.
it is they used to fucking electrocute people for weird shit. So
no, there's some of it.
some of it is pseudoscience.
We've really very, very kind of we've sharpened that edge here. We've made a very delicate precision instrument out of psychology. Psychiatry can't make the same claims yet, especially with all the narcotics in play, but psychology has been fine-tuned, and yes, I'm pretty damn good at reading people. I think I'm doing a damn fine job here. I mean, it's all been playing out just as I had designed for it to. And as regards you, though, something I'd like to go ahead and read is the way that you address that issue with the beliefs, and how she says she's in a healthy mindset now, that she's dismissed these beliefs, and nobody, she says nobody could have gotten through to her. Somebody got through to you because somebody caused for you to discard whatever it was that you believed in, and
which
to
isn't like a bad thing.
essentially just kind of rock solid dedicate yourself to it, which is, again, that's going to be one of the reasons why you're so upset with this, is that cognitive dissonance factor, wherein there is in fact a great deal of evidence to suggest the contrary to what you seem to be believing. And we can present that. Whereas again, you can't present anything to actually back up your beliefs because there is nothing.
But we don't actually know all of her beliefs.
Well, we know that where it regards atheism, that the lacking of a belief in there being a deity of any sort or anything of that to that effect. A
little different than most atheists.
Yeah, no, she recognizes that it's a belief system, and that's wherein you have the perfect in, lady. You have it. You have the correct equipment to make the proper judgments here and to make the correct assessments, but the way that she addresses it so frenetically, it's very indicative of her just being so grounded and kind of probably likely clinging to this aspect of herself so much that it really frightens her to let go of it. And that's probably one of the things that upset her so much, is where I suggested, well, she had stated, for anybody who doesn't know to begin with, she had stated something on Discord to the effect of her having shot down some person's challenge regarding collective consciousness and how stupid they were for holding that view, and they're just an idiot for believing in collective consciousness. And I stated to her, well, why don't you go ahead and challenge us on that matter, madam? And then she stated something
indirectly, kind of. I thought, okay, never mind. I thought that was a specific thing that you brought up.
Then she said something about me being manipulative, and I told her, please don't jump to the whole gaslighting thing, as most of that's the transgender people tend to do that.
Well, everybody does that.
She's trans, but the transgender people have tended to do that with me, with saying that I'm gaslighting them by raising a debate and presenting actual evidence for it, for my stance on the matter. That's
or just presenting
gaslighting.
a stance alone. I mean, I think we're getting to a point now, and
if
the world where it's like people can't communicate anymore because you immediately jump, and this is not anything having to do with Demi, but just generally. I had a big conversation with my brother earlier about this, that immediately somebody jumps to the gaslighting, or you're doing this, or you're doing that, or you're doing this, when really, I mean, if we could, take it down a notch, have a little humor about it, calm down a little bit, we can actually have discussions and count, point counterpoint in an actual conversation to learn more about each other. And even if you're not going to change anybody's mind, which I don't expect to ever, it's still valuable, I think, to get everything on the table and have conversations with people you don't agree with. That's probably more valuable than having conversations with people you do agree with. Watching
this video and seeing the way that she behaves here, actually, I do have a great degree of hope that her mind can be changed on this matter, because she does possess all the values that are required to snap out of it. She has the keys. All she has to do is walk up to the fucking door.
But again, you get this weird, like, burden thing that you'd put on yourself. It's not your job to fucking change anybody's mind.
No, but I mean, as I wanted to state, which I did want to say, okay, firstly, to cover this real quick so we can pass over it, if gaslighting, if somebody's going to say something to the effect of gaslighting in regards to trying to convince somebody that something about them is crazy, then yes, that's absolutely what I'm doing, because there are some factors here that are quite distressing regarding your behavior, and I would like for you to actually reach a healthy mindset.
Okay, and then in this case, then it's happening on both sides.
Yeah.
If we're just psycho, crazy.
Well, because she's suggesting that I'm delusional, where in fact,
exactly.
I mean, okay, you suggest that we're sucking what's his name, Staggerson Jag's dick, trying to get a content creator friend. No, we're gonna help promote his music because we just want to be kind and friendly and helpful to him. And yes, if he wants to collaborate with us, fine. But I mean, as it stands, he doesn't really have much. He hasn't offered much, and his videos are really, he's not presenting much of anything anymore. It seems like he's kind of given up. And I'd love to help him. I'd love to help him get over that depression thing and that anxiety thing. But again, just like you, he refuses to accept the very idea that people can be friendly.
Agree that
genuinely.
Back when we first made our first video, and he commented that whole thing about my anxiety, like, okay, buddy, that seemed kind of fake. Yeah. Right?
Yes.
Maybe that's harsh, but disingenuous. It seemed kind of disingenuous.
It's very disingenuous. Like, and do you honestly believe, Demi, that he did not watch that video? Of course he watched the video, just like you did. And here's the thing, where she says that we have no degree of influence because we have a low subscriber count. Okay, our subscriber count is low because most of the people that we have, our fans, they're kind of hand-picked because they're people who are not suffering from any form of heavy indoctrinations, or there are people we've actually pulled out of indoctrinations.
And the numbers is just a dumb thing to even concentrate on. It makes no difference either way. We're just two people talking, man.
Right, and where it comes to our degree of influence, I mean,
you made a 40-minute video.
You made a 40-minute video, didn't you? And B,
so we at least influenced that much.
Your channel was at risk. I mean, one more strike and that was it. And you've worked hard to build this fucking thing, and we care about it. I care about it.
I'm not sure how that works, but I think that's bullshit.
I do think that that's the case. One more strike and her channel would have been blown, and she was scared about it.
She never did anything wrong. There's no way.
Well, she used his music, so he had the grounds. He did have the grounds, so it's not illegal.
Just for that stupid shit.
They don't. You'd be surprised, but
that's dumb.
It's not. There's nothing illegal with him presenting strikes. I mean, you can combat it, sure, but just because there's a chance that he might have backed out of the strikes on his own, and just because there's a chance you would likely have won were it to be brought to court.
Absolutely she would have.
That doesn't mean that there's no connection here. Now, where it comes to us having influenced him, again, to restate this, and I have already told you this, Madam, I personally asked Staggerson to rescind the strikes, and I in fact did put a little bit of manipulation behind it. And then we went ahead and we made a video explaining precisely why we thought he should rescind the strikes. And then immediately afterwards, he did just that. So, and I mean, it tends to be the case that when I put manipulation behind my intentions for you, you do what I want for you too.
Whatever the case is that it's not crazy to believe that you had a little bit of influence on his decision. And I know you were personally worried about.
Yes, I was very worried about her channel. She's worked very hard on the channel. If her channel was removed, I really deeply worry for what might have happened to her had her channel been eliminated.
Yeah, he absolutely did not want to see that happen, and neither does anybody else. That was just a shitty move from Staggerson Jags, and a petty and childish thing for him to do.
And if you think he honestly believes that the moon doesn't rotate, he's being flirtatious, lady. This is obvious. He's trying to be flirtatious with you. He's trying to antagonize you. Now, there's only two ways to look at that having happened, wherein, in fact, the request was made on our behalf, and a video was even made on our behalf backing the request for him to rescind those strikes, and he did immediately thereafter do so. There's only two ways to look at that. Either A, it's what you'd call a weird coincidence synchronicity that transpired, a synchronicity which you claim to not believe in, or B, it's what we in the scientific field call evidence to us having influenced that decision. And yes, we did that for you, genuinely attempting to be friendly because we genuinely give a fuck. At least I care. I don't know if she cares.
You care too much.
But she's backing my play, and the reason she's backing my play is because, yes, she has in fact spent the time, invested the time and the effort to stick around in our relationship beyond any weird shit that I might say that she didn't believe in long enough for her to realize that much of it is correct, and she has in fact learned a lot from it, and she knows well enough to back me up on my plays because she trusts me in that regard. She has enough respect for me to do so.
There's a lot of history here, I think, in the years. Oh my gosh, so many years. Over a decade now, and I feel 100% confident in saying that you are creepy. But you will also, he would jump in front of a fucking bus for me or somebody else. You would do that for people you probably don't even know. I wouldn't. I might jump in front of a bus for you, but not a random stranger. You would jump in front of a bus for a random stranger.
And it's a matter of practicality, really, lady. I'd likely jump in front of a bullet for you. The reason being that you have, and you've worked your ass off to do so, I'm sure. I've watched. You have 1.92 thousand subscribers on your channel, Anti-Ordinary, and you have dedicated fans, which, mind you, I do want to say that, you know, where you do say shit like I'm a creepy weirdo and I'm a shit person, when you say that, the people that watch that, they're going to take that to heart, and that's an aspect.
Without any information.
Yeah, that's an aspect that's going to cloud their judgment. Just like your judgment's been clouded in so many areas, and I think that an aspect clouding your judgment as regards me is that I believe I must have in some way, and this stands to reason because you say you held the same views, which means you likely engaged people who held the same views as me in the past, and you've told stories about having been abused by people in the past. It's very likely that something I said, because you wouldn't have known me visually early on, something I said did trigger something in your memory that reminded you and associated me to somebody that's hurt you in the past. And so now you have this association in play. You don't even know that it's happening. It slipped right by you. This aspect that's clouding your judgment, and so you just detest me for just reasons entirely unknown, because I mean anybody can go onto your Discord or onto your YouTube channel or anywhere and look back on the comments and everything that I've said to you. I'm sure people can even get a hold of the blocked Twitter account and read the messages that we exchanged where...
Yeah, but that's the thing though, is that in this day and age no one is going to do that.
Right, but I'm saying that the evidence exists to me having been entirely friendly and promotional to you throughout the course of this convoluted relationship, and it's very odd that you'd have this aspect in play where every judgment you're making is clouded in such a way as to take this heavily promotional, friendly, polite, courteous, and positive exchange that I put your way and just twist it and warp it into something inherently negative and detestable at every turn. Like, you clipped our video into yours, which clearly shows that we were backing you and making the video to be helpful to you, yet at the same time, in between the clips, you say that we were backing Staggerson in some way being, speaking down to you. So I do think that you have this association in play in your mind where you are seeing me through an aspect of something that hurts you, and you're just generally angry at me for just reasons that you have no idea are even existing. And
well, that's a theory that you hold, but that may or may not be true.
I just said I think that, didn't I? Now,
well, again, apparently saying if or
right,
if then statements doesn't mean if, it just means flat out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So things get misinterpreted,
now,
which is
what's
an innocent enough
happening?
mistake for anyone to make.
What's going to happen when you say shit about me, like you said in this video? People are going to watch that, and there's already comments on the video to suggest as much. People from your fan base who are primarily suffering from heavy indoctrinations are going to take that ball and run with it. They're going to see everything that I do through that aspect. So they're going to look at the value of who and what I am and what we're doing with this channel, which may very well be enormously beneficial to them. We only do things that are positive for people. We have no intentions of hurting anybody, and so far we've been pretty good at following through on our actual intentions of being helpful to people. So there could be a great many values regarded on this channel that could be exceptionally helpful to people from your fan base. But they're not going to see that, because all that they're going to see is what you've told them to. And I don't see how that's fair to anybody. But you talk a big game about fair play.
And that's another thing, too, is that life's not fair.
No.
And so to say that, we can't, just say this and make judgments and blah, blah, blah.
No,
like, we absolutely
can.
No, I mean, and so can you and anybody
Right.
else. Like, that's the thing.
That's,
is that
that's what I'm saying.
can make judgments about us if you really want
I'm
to.
saying that you can do that.
We didn't intend to hurt
And-
anyone's feelings, but that doesn't mean that we didn't hurt
Right.
anyone's feelings.
I'm
you know?
saying you can do that, and in doing that, you can cause enormous, irreparable damage to everyone involved. You have that kind of power available, and you haphazardly use it with your eyes blindfolded. You have no idea what you're doing, but you do talk a big game about being like the bigger, better person. Well, she says at one point that I'm nobody, you're nobody, just like she's nobody, but that's not the case, madam. You're a big deal. You have a great degree of influence. You have a great degree of power that you can make use of in the most astounding ways, were you to just put a little thought behind it. And not just jump to these absurd conclusions, which is absurd, by the way. It's not, there's only one U. You do not begin the word absurd with a U. That's not how it's spelled. You did that 3 times in one of the comments you sent to me. Absurd. It's absurd.
Yes.
So,
anyways, grammar police aside, the very
she says
bottom line,
she
the
says
point.
she's learned, she's grown. You've done precisely the opposite. And no,
Well,
you don't need to do
again-
my learning or growing for me. That's
Yeah,
what
that
I'm
was
here
a
to do
quote.
for you.
I think it would be helpful if we could know people's stories a little bit more, talk to them face to face, that kind of thing. But that obviously isn't.
Yeah.
That's not going to
You-
happen
you
here.
also-
That's not what this thing is about. More a video thing, and
you
she's
say if
making
we-
her videos. She's having fun. I'm cool with it.
Yeah. Do you say that if I felt like friendly with you, then I could just come talk to you? Well, obviously I can't do that, because the moment I disagree with you, you block me. And you've even gone so far as to say in your video that, we have no idea how many friends you've just fucked off because they didn't live up to your expectations. Well, that by standard measure, that would kind of make you somewhat of a shitty person. I'm not going to say you're a shitty person, but that's definitely pretty fucking
Somebody did that
awful
to me
behavior,
one time. Those
isn't it?
exact words. Some chick, she's like, "You don't live up to my standards. I have very high standards for friends."
Yeah, that's
Like,
a pretty.
oh my God.
And honestly, I would say from my perspective,
It
of course, it
felt
seems I have the
awful.
I'm the delusional one here, but from my
Deluded or
perspective,
delusional?
I'm spiritually deluded and delusional.
Deluded, yeah.
Because she definitely has the psychiatric expertise to make such assessments, it seems. But from my perspective, that really seems to be a very creepy and weird way to go through life, is that you're going to just pass ass-word judgments on people and blow them off.
Hey, blow
For
off
all
whoever you want to,
eternity.
and sometimes you
Which
do.
obviously you're not doing, are you? Because you've told me this 3 times now, that you're never going to address us again. You're never going to address me again.
I hope she addresses us many times. I think it's great.
She will.
I think it's great.
She will.
Anyway, bottom line is that we didn't mean to offend anybody, and we ourselves were not offended by any of the, jokes. All in good fun. That's fine. I mean, a little bit of offense came from some harsh words that you said in your response, but again, it's nothing. It's,
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
We're not easily offended.
There were other things that I think we wanted to say, but I'm pretty sure we kind of got it covered here.
We covered it. But I hope that we can communicate in the future.
Yeah. It'd be excellent to communicate in the future,
Absolutely.
Openly and honestly.
Just back off for a while, man. Would you?
Yeah,
Out.
I should stop being so fucking creepy, right? I get that I'm an asshole, lady. I understand that, but I mean, really, I was. That's the reason she blocked me on Twitter, was because I kind of blew up on her. By the way, she said, she says in this video that she explained the reasons why she blocked me. What you did is you claimed to have forgotten the reasons why you blocked me. To remind you.
Okay, well, you apparently just said the reason why you got blocked. So
the reason she blocked me is because we were having a discussion along these lines wherein I stated that she has a great degree of power and that if we were working together we could make a positive difference, and she argued that, and she was very vehemently arguing that and being very cynical and essentially what I perceived as being somewhat disrespectful, and so I did become an asshole, and I said she was being I told her she's being a fucking asshole, and she blocked me for it. So I mean, I guess you're within your rights there. You could, but again, you're the one who states that everybody needs to be justifying everything. I mean, we are justifying them, as while you make many claims throughout your response video that are not only unjustifiable but are in fact clearly evidentiarily delusional.
And the
very much the opposite of civil, which you claim to be. It is not a civil video you made, and again, it was delusional because either it was a delusion you're having where you actually believe what you're saying, or you are deliberately lying.
I think it's just a feelings. I think it was some feelings got hurt here and there, and it happens, man.
Yeah.
It's a fucking human thing.
Ultimately, she closes the video by saying, just fuck off and leave me alone, and I don't ever want to communicate with you again, so just stop trying. No. Sorry. You haven't really done anything to garner the respect that would allow for you to make that sort of request, and I care about knowing you. I would like to know you, so I mean, if I decide that I want to comment or that I want to pop in wherever, I mean, you can try to block me. It's not going to work. If I want to interact with you, and again, if I want for there to be further, to pursue further actions taken as regards the relationship here, it's going to happen. As I stated before, we're here for the duration. So, I mean, we're going to continue to try and be beneficial to you in some way or another, and in turn, hopefully elicit responses from you that can be beneficial to other people, likely. It doesn't seem you can be really beneficial to us. I mean, you're not that big a deal yet, but you could be.
Well, now you're minimizing people, and,
No, well, I mean, she's got...
I feel like if...
She's still got under 2,000 subscribers.
That's still a lot more than us. But I feel like if she wants you to leave her alone, then just fucking respect her wishes, at least for the time being.
Okay, well, I guess I can try to stop.
Back off a little bit.
I'll stop watching your videos, I suppose.
Well, no, I don't think that's exactly.
Well, no, if I watch your videos and I have something to say about them, that's why she has a comment section. So no, I guess I'll stop watching your videos, and I'll try to keep other people that I've directed to your channel from watching your videos so that they don't tell me about them. And, I guess I'll divert attention away from you.
Now you're being childish.
I mean, that's what she wants me to do. No, I'm not going to do that. I'll probably check in on your channel When I do, I'll probably have something to say, and I will feel free to go the fuck ahead and say it. And yes, it will cause for there to be a response in you. Now, it's up to you. You have the power to make the decision as to whether you take it from a genuine, honest perspective,
obviously.
a respectful perspective, and make use of it in a beneficial manner, or decide to continue seeing things through these delusional aspects that you have in play that are causing for you to just ultimately be like a reprehensible sort of a person. I want to say being a dick. You're a dick all the time. I'm sorry, man. You are a dick. It's part of your charm. It's something that hugely attracts me to you, is the fact that you're such a critical asshole to people. I love it. But, I mean, you really want to try and make use of that in a respectful manner, that is to say being honest and genuine. You know, be a dick to people that you like the video you did investigating that group of assholes that was shitting on that one dude turning his girlfriend against him. That was awesome. That was really, really good work.
I don't remember
The Reds, remember it was Reds Rhetoric?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she did this investigation video, and that was amazing. And by the way, that video was directly influenced by us. So, and it was some of your best work. I think you should really continue pursuing that. Doing those investigations, calling people who deserve to be called out on their shit, that's fucking awesome. Ultimately, as regards Soul Mechanics, we didn't really need you to make a full response to us. I suggested that if you want a real challenge in as regards these topics, challenge us.
Well, that was obviously not the intention.
And I know she doesn't want to address these issues. She's afraid of these issues.
Well, no, it's all just woo-woo bullshit.
No, it's none of it is woo-woo bullshit. It's all scientifically evidenced, not absolute facts, but scientifically evidenced considerations that do in fact make common sense. It's everything that we try to tell people is backed up by simple common sense.
Okay, well now you're repeating yourself. So, just wanted to lay that out there.
Yeah. So thank you for making the video, though. That, I guess it was awesome. I mean,
I thought it was pretty cool. Got him all riled up.
You could have done better. You could have done a lot better. But, I mean, as regards the challenge, we're presenting our evidences.
And we did like it, by the way.
Yeah, we liked it. We pressed like twice. We got 2 likes on it for you, and we're directing traffic towards it from other people. I spread that shit out all over the place. I'm very proud that you did that. Honestly, I'm very proud that you did in fact do that. Like I said, you fucked it up, but hey, shit happens. You tend to fuck a lot of things up. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Kila Salai, Terviuni Siari. Namaste, madam. Okay, hola. Again, all brief post-clip disclaimer. I do apologize that we're even later than we had promised to be for the people that were actually looking forward to the video. I fucked up and put the wrong intro in. And my God, we've been up for days and days and working like 9-hour shifts, and I wanted to make a couple of statements. I'm gonna go ahead and rescind the statement at the end of the video there, and I'll go ahead and respect Demi's wishes and just fuck off. But I mean, just in the case that we ever actually do require her for anything, I'll address her indirectly. She won't know that it's happening, but again, she will do whatever we need for her to. That's inevitable. Also, I should like to note for Demi, I thought of a startling insight. Like, I know that you don't give a shit about anybody and you have no reason to care about anybody and how they think or feel, but if you do ever really like want to get to know somebody, like on the spot, genuinely get to know somebody, take a shot at seeing how they behave towards you when they think that you're a fucking idiot. And also, on that note, if you do get to know them and you decide to care about them thereafter, they'll become very, very fond of you when you improve dramatically all of a sudden. It's a cool insight. It's a glaring insight. We're speaking to the concepts regarding values and aspects, and you know, I just wanted to know, in case she does look into anything that we've said or anything that we've provided or suggested, when we speak to values, what we're talking about really is like pieces of a person's identity. Aspects attached to values would be concepts in play that kind of imply something. They're implications attached to a value that imply something about that piece, that shard of a person's identity. And what she's been doing this whole time, really, Demi, what you've been doing this whole time kind of is like, you've been viewing everything that's happening through these aspects, these implications that you have attached to the actual values, and you're unable to see the values. Like when you said that Staggerson's music was shit because you don't like him. Obviously, if you firmly believe that everything we say is bullshit because you don't like me. You don't like me for no good reason, because of something else that I guess I probably remind you of some other person or something. And just everything that you say. Like, I mean, for Demi's fans, should they watch this, I'm sure that a few of them will actually watch this. Listen, if you actually give a shit about this girl, you gotta be honest with her. Be noble, be honorable, stand up. You can't just agree with everything she says on the merit of being her. If you want to be truly loyal to her, you have to be honest with her and speak up, because, I mean, she played the fucking video. She played our video. It's very obvious that we're exceptionally supportive of this girl, yet she's going ahead and in between the clips suggesting that we're in some way against her, trying to insult her or something. Believe me, we're not trying. If we were trying to insult you, madam, you'd be very, very insulted. And also, on that note, where she seems to be of the belief, again, an aspect attached to the values of my identity, of our identities, it seems that she thinks that Sweetie Cheeks and I are like in a disagreement somehow. Like, she keeps suggesting that Sweetie Cheeks is right. Sweetie Cheeks is right. That's because she agrees with me. We're both right. And, you know, where I said that she's learned a lot from me, most of what I do, in fact, know about the nature of reality and how it operates, and the reason why I'm so well attuned to operating reality, the mechanics of reality, is because of what she taught me. You know, she taught me most of what I know. After she and I had trained together, I had taught her everything that I knew. She came back and she schooled me. She's far above and beyond me in many ways. I love her dearly. Unfortunately, Sweetie Cheeks is, I guess she's just tired of you and she doesn't want to talk about it anymore, but say hello at least.
He's being redundant.
No, I wanted to cover that and make sure that, because, again, that she mentioned that the creepy vibe could come across because I said I wouldn't leave you alone. What I really meant to say there is that I'm not going to do what you tell me to. Okay, I understand that you seem to think you're, like, better than us because you have more subscribers, likely, or you think you have more subscribers. Of course, you don't seem to know that this is not our only channel, and we will address you at some point on the podcast channel, which is, like, I don't know how much bigger than your channel, but by and large, sorry, I'm tired. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one. Thank you all for watching. Again, to her fans, you need to tell her the truth, man. Be honest. Help her out. Kila Salai, Terry Uniciari. Namaste.